Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Happy Training Tuesday, where we go through regular tips and tricks to help you build a professional life you love. I am coming at you live today from California, so we can do our Q&A since we're doing it differently this month. As a reminder, we're doing everything live, so you can ask questions in real time should you want them. And today we are talking about advice. So we get plenty of advice in life, the good, the bad, the unsolicited, and that's what we're talking about today. As you join, you can always pop on and say hi if you're joining us in real time. I see a few of you coming on here. And feel free to ask any questions in the comments. The joy of doing this live means I get to respond live in real time and answer any questions you might have. So let's get into it. Today we are talking about advice. And again, there's a lot of things I see with advice. What I called this little Training Tuesday this week was the one person you should always get advice from. And I'm actually not just talking about yourself. I know the way, even when I read it back, I was like, oh, she's going to say, take your own advice, which is like true. But that's not actually what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is getting advice from others and how to make sure we're actually asking the right people, because there are plenty of people willing to give you advice. The question at the end of the day is, do I want your advice or not? So with that in mind, that's, what I want to talk about in terms of what I always see, right? A lot of clients I talk to get advice from people who don't have experiences anything like their own, right? Maybe they have not had similar experience up until this point. Perhaps they are not going where you want to be going, right? But I often see people taking advice from those folks, so people who either haven't been where you are or aren't going where you want to go. And to that I ask, why, right? We often get a lot of career advice from folks who maybe don't have similar shared experiences. I know for myself as a millennial woman in my career, now I mostly get advice from people who have been where I've been and want to go where I'm going. But I know for a long time, especially when I was first starting out and was in advertising and stuff, I know I was getting advice from a lot of people who I'm like, you are a 60-year-old man who works in a completely different industry. And while that's great, and I'm sure you have some helpful insight and some helpful advice, and of course I appreciate it, I also realize that sometimes, right, we might not even be talking about the same things. The idea of talking about starting your own business, if you've never started your own business, you'll be able to give me some helpful advice, but I would get much more helpful advice from someone who has started their own business, right? And I think that's the thing I want to talk about today, because when I see people taking advice from folks who don't have any shared experiences, right, aren't looking to go where they are, then they end up with not the most helpful advice. They end up instead with a lot of shoulds that they feel like they ought to be doing, but nothing that actually feels like it fits, right? And so then it becomes really hard to take the advice, because you end up in this position where it just feels like kind of uncomfortable and like it's not working, and like you have a ton of opinions and that you want to be taking, but you just feel like you can't, and it doesn't feel right. So I'm curious if that resonates with you. Definitely let me know if that feels true to you. But I know that's something I've heard from a lot of folks, a lot of clients, and have experienced myself. And what we want instead in this situation, instead of taking advice from those people, is, of course, to take advice from people who are where you're looking to go, who have either had similar past experiences, are looking to go the place where you're looking to go, right? So if you're wanting to start a business, maybe talk to someone who has started a business, right? Those are the things we want to see, because I think that's how you really move the mark and have the most impact when it comes to learning something really valuable. So that is my suggestion for you this week. The one person you should be listening to, other than listening to yourself and your gut and your own internal guidance, is to be listening to people who have had shared experiences to you, who can really relate to what you're going through and can help give you advice from someone who has truly been there, because I know that's so much more impactful. So that's my tip for you this week, is to find your people, to start getting their opinion, and to ask yourself, really, truly, am I getting opinions from people who are going where I want to go and have been where I am? Because if not, then maybe I'll take that with a grain of salt and instead kind of look for someone who can relate a little bit more. So that's my suggestion for you this week. Find those people, ask yourself those questions. And of course, I think as you most likely all know, I do have a community called Hustle Hive. It's a free Facebook community for millennial women who are looking to build fulfilling professional lives. If that is you and you want to find that community and you're feeling like you need some support talking about fulfillment or balancing a busy schedule or working in times of COVID, any of the above, feel free to join us. I'll make sure to drop the link in the comments after I pop off here. But it's a really great community, and it's made to be a free community to connect people who are wanting to do those things for this reason, because I think people ought to be getting advice from folks who have been where they are and are going where they want to go. So it's made to connect those folks. So if that feels like a fit for you, feel free to join us. We'd love to have you. Love to have you. And in the meantime, happy working. If anyone has questions, feel free to drop them. I will come back through and make sure to respond to any of your comments. And that's all I got for you this week, peeps. So take time, ask yourself who you're getting advice from, and make sure you're doing it intentionally, like with all things, okay? So happy Training Tuesday, everyone, and happy working. Bye-bye.